Okay, alright, so this is part 4 of my leather making, and I'm discovering I'm really not good at this. The sound in the video go out of sync. I don't know why. I keep trying to fix it. Every time I do the test videos it worked fine, and now when I'm actually talking about the subject I want to talk about, they get out of sync. Pardon. Anyway, so now sewing, I guess that's the last part that I'm going to talk about. Thread is important, obviously, so you can use a cotton-based threads. It's what I used on this example here that I keep coming back to. And there's also sinew, which is like animal muscle fiber. Of course, you know, it's fake sinew, nylon based. You know, I like that kind of stuff actually. It comes pre-waxed, but it's a very light amount of wax. The cotton stuff doesn't come waxed at all, but you have to wax it, so you want to get a little plug of beeswax like this. And the piece that you're going to use, that you're going to cut out, just drag it over the wax so you get a nice coating on it, and you can see it will actually stand under its own weight. This protects it, protects the leather in the holes, and makes it bind together, makes it easy to work with. So yeah, I wax the heck out of the stuff. You can't really overdo it. Makes the needle easy to thread as well. And so actually I've already got a little example set up here. This little guy here, this clam, is actually, they make models that go all the way to the floor. This guy here is for your lap. Basically you sit on this, so a thigh goes over this, a thigh goes over that, and then this is just below, you know, this is about, I guess it would be the equivalent about this height here, so it's a nice good height to work at. And so I've got a scrap piece of leather clamped in here. Obviously you might have a much bigger piece, and I've already got actually got something started there. If you want to make one of these your own, you can. I think this is made out of poplar. The one I used in Old Salem in the shoe shop actually was the spring, the tension was held not through a bolt like this, but the wood itself would just clamp together. In tight spots, you can use something basic like that, or you don't have to at all. I mean, the idea is just it keeps your hands free. That way the holes that you made with your awl stay lined up, so it just makes it a little easier to work with. So here I've got one piece of thread. I've got two needles, two examples here. I've got a nice little curved guy, which is good for getting into tight spots, and you know, standard garden variety straight needle. To start out with a basic saddle stitch, which is what I have here and is in that example I just showed you. You know, your first hole, you basically run the one line through, you got your needle on either end, so you got the straight line, center it up. And then it's simply a matter of this one goes in, this one goes in, this one goes, like that. You know, so your thread has this nice serpentine shape. So what I'll show you though, but the trick that I want to point out is you run this guy through here on the first go, and see, I actually had this set up, and see the leather's kind of shrunk back down on me some. Alright, so run this one through, and then as always it's going to probably be a little snug. So needle nose pliers. When you break your needles, this is probably when you're going to break them, so make sure you pull as straight as you can. And so that comes through. This will get easier with time, and you may have to, don't be surprised if you have to go back in and repunch with your awl to make this easier, because this is having to stop and use these does slow down the process. Now this first one, notice I didn't pull it all the way tight, so I have a nice little loop right here. You can see on my hand there. So with that loop out, I kind of take these and pull back. So I want the next one that comes around and passes through, I'd like to kind of have it go in front of my stitch, because you don't want to have this needle pierce the thread that already went through. You want the two pieces of thread to go beside each other. So this curved one here, I run through, give it a pull. By the way, these curved needles, they break easily because you can never really keep an even tension. The curve makes you want to pull to one side, and that's when it snaps. So now that I have this nice little bow tie shape, now I can pull them tight, and I have the beginnings of basic saddle stitch. Another type of stitching, actually real quick, I'll go ahead and tell you, this type of stitching you have to have 2 needles, and it's nice and balanced, keeps even tension on the pieces that you join together, and it uses up, so if you want to know how much to roll off of the spool to use, this is estimated about 2-to-1 ratio, I guess, you know. So if I need to run, if I'm stitching a length of running a stitch this long, you'll probably need, you know, twice that. Go a little bit more, but you need it for both sides. So maybe it's a 4-to-1 ratio. The other stitching I use is coil stitching. I don't have an example nearby, so apologize. But that one's actually really simple. That's only 1 needle. And again, you've got your holes punched along here. And if you want to start out, you can just run through the loop a couple of times, tie off with a square knot, or you can leave a loose end and then you can back stitch. And yeah, don't let me forget to tell you how to finish the saddle stitching too. But with coil stitching, alright, so you start through and then you go over like this, nice exaggerated movement, you don't have to do that. And you go over again, and you'll notice when this is pulled through, again, I gotta stop using pliers. There we go. So as you can see, that pulls down here, and when this one comes around again, I'll go ahead and do another one real quick, and that way you can see exactly what's going to happen. Coil stitching is actually very quick. It's very fast. It has the added advantage of it oops, you can't see it, binds the outside edge, which can be decorative if you want. It can add to some of the strength. And again, it's very quick. 1 needle and just whip right on through. The downside though is it does eat up a lot of thread. So if you want to stitch this far with coil stitching, you're going to have to run off like 6 times the amount of thread. And the other disadvantage is because it's a coil, the tension can be uneven. So if you do a long run of this, you're going to find that your holes that you made are going to start to kind of misalign, or when you try to keep forcing that through, the piece you're working with is going to want to start to twist and veer off to one side. It's just the nature of the beast on that. So if you're needing structural precision, don't do a coil stitch. But you know, if you're in a hurry, you can do a quick coil stitch. On both types of stitches are the way to finish off. You can, if you want to be ugly about it, just, you know, loop back around and tie it off with a square knot and then just, you know, nip the end. A more elegant solution on both is to just reverse what you did. Saddle stitching, just reverse back in the same way, so it'll be a little bulky for a couple stitches there, but again, you can, you know, kind of hit it with a hammer. I mean, you know, kind of push back so it doesn't look so bulky. Same with coil stitching, just coil back through a few times. And any tag you have on the end, just, you know, snip it cleanly with an X-Acto knife. You can, if you want, you know, some people do this if it's a big enough, and if it's nylon, it'll take advantage of this oil, but you can melt it, take a small flame, melt the wax, melt the nylon. That's a great way to seal it up. Cotton thread, I mean, don't want to do that because that's flammable. So that's pretty much the gist. I can't think of anything else in my notes. So anyway, thanks for listening, and if I think of anything else, I'll probably put together another video. Bye.